Welcome, everybody, to Brown and Browner. We're going to call it the Taco Tuesday Cinco de Mayo edition. We're in the middle of May, and there's some fun stuff
that's
going
right.
on.
I got to say you just reminded me of somebody's birthday today.
Yeah, today it's a lot of stuff. It's a fun time of year, absolutely, and a good day to go out and get some drinks if possible. But that said, welcome to the world of sports. We're in the middle of NBA playoffs. We got a little bit of golf going on. There's a little bit of horse racing. There's all sorts of little stuff going on, but NBA playoffs are at their marquee moment right now, and the hockey playoffs.
You know, I missed the Kentucky Derby. I didn't see who the winner was. I did hear it was somebody who came from behind. This is sort of the signal of spring/summer is the Kentucky Derby.
Yep.
I also think that it's the start of other sports, I'll call it.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
You finish up the playoffs in hockey and basketball. Yep. You got baseball in its fledgling stages, which
it is.
You know, when you have 162 games, sometimes it's hard to get into it, especially when you live in the Midwest and they have games when the temperature is 30 plus degrees or 40 tops.
I did have a privilege last week. I went on my son's school field trip. They go annually to the Orioles game. Got to see them play against the Astros. Got to see my very first Grand Slam take place in person. So that was kind of cool. Yeah, nice. But I got to share that with my son and all of his little friends and stuff like that. So that was kind of cool. It was interesting to see to me. We had a group of about 130 kids. Dare I say at least 30 of them had never been to a baseball game, even though some of them are fans. But I would say even within that 30%, half had never even figured out baseball, had never even learned baseball, had never been introduced to the game, nothing. So we were sitting there kind of teaching them, all the little stuff as parents and all the other chaperones that were around and everything else. But that just tells you that this is not America's pastime. It is football. It is football. Simple as that.
Football. It is not baseball. Baseball was America's pastime in the early 1900s.
Yes. No, and frankly, we like we've talked about here, I'll call it the unfeasibility of people to be able to go enjoy a game as a family with friends and everything else on an affordability class in this country has just gotten terrible. We'll probably highlight that more next month, even with the World Cup. And believe me, I can go into stories on that. But that said, if you can't even afford to go, if the basics of training to go to a game, a baseball game, a basketball game, a football game, it become that uneconomical, if you will, then frankly, we're losing what it is to be a fan of sports in this country. And we need to be able to fix that.
Well, and that's what's happening. And you said it right about how they're pricing the real fans out of the experience.
Yes.
That is a great experience. You used to go to baseball games, football games. I don't even take my son to opening day for the Bears anymore. Can't afford it. I don't want to pay $400 for the nosebleeds. We went to a basketball game. We saw Michigan play Tennessee in the Elite Eight going into the Final Four. And we were in the very last row of seats. And that ticket, we got it like at a cut rate price because we waited, but it was still $100+ a ticket.
Yep.
I'll give you another one that's a little off of sports, but it's still the same concept. Ravinia, which is an
outdoor,
where you would just, back in the day, you could buy lawn seats for $20-30. You hang out there all day. People come early, set up big old tables and, mark their spot. You get to listen to music and hang out. Snoop Dogg is coming in September.
Oh, I gotta go.
we said we had to go. Guys I used to play football with and stuff. We all said, okay, we're gonna go. One guy got me tickets. 108, and he waited online at 8 o'clock. It came on. He literally took him like an hour or so to finally secure these tickets. $108 a piece to sit on some grass and not even see the performer, just be on the grass.
The ambiance.
Can you believe that? So I'm taking my son and my wife. My daughter's going to be in school.
Yeah.
That's $325 I spent just to get inside the place. You better bring your own food and everything because the price is in there. If you go first, you're going to sit in the line forever.
Yep.
But think about that experience. So I got to spend about $500
at least. Yep.
For 3 people to go sit on a lawn like we would in the park and have somebody play music in the background.
Yep. No, that like I said, I don't know whether you call it greed. I don't know what you call it these days, but
capitalism.
The simplicity of being a fan of something in this country has completely been lost. It's sad to say. And honestly, it's trickling down to what the quality of players and everything else that's being developed is coming out in the country. Like go back to the baseball example. This is a school field trip, so it wasn't subsidized. People were still paying $30 a person or $30 a kid to show up, and then spending whatever on concessions and everything else. And that's just for a school field trip. All right. Think about a little league team that's learning how to play baseball, enjoying the sport and everything else. You can't afford to take a little league team out to a game to watch. I can't take a soccer team out to watch an MLS game. Like it's ridiculous.
You can't. Because how many people are you going to have on your team? 12 to 15?
How do you expect to teach or show them the professional game that you're trying to teach at a lower level? You can't. It's pathetic.
No, and you wouldn't be able to get the parents to say, go hang out somewhere and watch it on TV.
Absolutely. No.
So what are you going to do?
It's not the same. Yeah, exactly. It's not the same. So no, it's truly going to be something that happens, and you're seeing it already in many sports across the entire globe, where the global team and the global game catches up to the United States because of how capitalism has pretty much ruined sports in this country. Simple as that.
How much is enough?
Yeah.
When is enough enough?
Right.
You know, we're supposed to be a community, so you want people to be able to enjoy experiences as well. Yep. But now going out to dinner, going to a public event, entertainment, you know, being entertained, almost takes out some of the middle class, many of the middle class. You have to make sacrifices to just go to do something which used to be sort of considered, you know, affordable and simple.
Now, and to that point, I'll touch on my World Cup story in a month from now, because like I said, I'll touch on that when it's applicable. But until then, let's talk about sports. Let's talk about the NBA playoffs. Let's talk about the hottest ticket there is to play, which is the New York Knickerbockers, and the fact that they just are on fire right now.
They are playing some incredible ball.
Yes.
I have to say the entire team has really done a number. I just wonder, you know, if I'm in Dallas, you know, Dallas had Jalen Brunson.
Bingo.
They had Luka Doncic.
Bingo.
And maybe Cooper Cup will be, or Cooper Cooper Flag, not Cooper Cup, but Cooper Flag might be the answer at some point when they build a team around him, etc. But to see Jalen Brunson and to see the Villanova boys, all three of them.
I love that story.
New York, you got one in Minnesota.
Yep.
He's been hurt though, Francesco or whatever his name is. But Chenza. But I kudos to them.
Yes.
Except you know it's New York, so you're sort of waiting for that next moment.
It's going to be interesting. So, you know, the last 2-3 runs that New York's had in the playoffs, and obviously there's always hype because it's New York, it's the Mecca, it's basketball, it's playoffs. It's been a one-man show where Jalen Brunson's had to carry them. This year, you're seeing something a little different where all 5 players are showing up, which is very interesting to watch. And I think prohibitively the betting favorites right now, if you were to talk about folks in the league, at least on the East Conference, it's New York right now and everybody else in the Eastern Conference. Let's see if they can sustain that, not only for this series for against the Sixers, which I think they'll win like 4-1, 4-2 in my opinion, but then they'll play someone like either Detroit or Cleveland, which I think is going to be a dogfight in its own right, you know, given that matchup. Do I think that anybody coming out of the East can face the West? No, I still don't think that. I think the West still wins at the end of the day.
Yeah, not in a 7-game series.
Not in a 7-game series. Like there's just not enough depth there on the New York roster to sustain that. Is the hype and the hoopla of playing at the Garden and everything else going to pay off? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's unbelievable to see that atmosphere. And frankly, I've become kind of a New York partial fan in this playoff run to see that happen, hopefully. Maybe we're just teeing up for the crescendo, like I was telling you before we got on here. I think we're teeing it up to where we're going to see $7 million tickets for Game 6 of the finals, and then boom, you're going to see everything come crashing down.
I tell you what, you mentioned it. I think New York having OG contribute, having Robinson contribute. I just feel like you know, Miles Bridges,
everybody,
knocking down shots. They have a really good chance. It's fortunate that they're in the East because being in the East, there's way more parity in the East than I feel there is in the West. But I feel like the teams that are still left in the West, I don't care which one wins out of the West, is better than every single team that's in the East. Cleveland almost choked. Detroit was at the edge of disaster.
If Franz Wagner's there, that's over. If Franz Wagner's there, Orlando's winning that series. That's the unfortunate part.
If who's there?
If Franz Wagner was healthy, Orlando wins that series. No questions asked.
I'm surprised they lost 3 games in a row, given that Detroit, what Detroit's Achilles heel.
A one-man band. They're a one-man band.
That is the Achilles heel. Duran, he looked better earlier in the season, maybe scoring points, but he's not a scorer. And if they don't get some of these guys coming off the bench hitting threes, if they don't get the white guy on their team, I forget his name off the top of my head, Hamilton, Robinson, something like that, hitting threes, they're not going to win.
Yeah, no, they remind me of the Knicks from the last 2 seasons, basically. They're a one-man band. It's Cade Cunningham and the All-Star. That's all it is. That's all it is. And that's why, honestly, I'm still going Cleveland. I think Cleveland's got a more well-rounded set. Now, Donovan Mitchell has not proven it in any fashion that he can carry.
Neither has the beard.
But I tell you what, that front court for Cleveland, they're playing like ballers right now.
They got players.
Mobley, everybody.
Mobley really has shown he's at that next level. I think you can start saying he's one of the better players in the NBA.
Mobley, I think that's a 2-man band up front that's unstoppable. I mean, you put them against Cat, they destroy Cat. You put them against Embiid, they destroy an Embiid. That's my opinion anyway. But it'll be interesting to see. But I think I like Cleveland potentially taking down Detroit in that situation. Now, Cleveland and maybe the Knicks, that'll be an interesting matchup. I think it'll be a homer type thing, but I hate to say it, but I think I kind of favor the Knicks right now with as badly as they're killing people. I mean,
they're putting up 100-plus points every game. They're winning games by 20, 30 points. Yep. They seem to really have a nice flow to their game. They can go to one-on-one with Brunson when needed because he's just that reliable. But they're also passing the ball around, hitting perimeter shots. They're able to get some inside presence. Yep. They have everything it takes to be a champion. But it's still New York.
It's still New York, exactly. You got to overcome that aura. That's the problem.
Yeah, until that happens, it's hard to say anything. Now, on the flip side, looking at the Western Conference, before we go, I have to say the Eastern Conference's first-round series were way more entertaining because they all went to Game 7?
Yep,
Did they all
3 Game 7s. It was deep. Yeah.
The Boston Celtics lost. They didn't even get to it. They got to Game 7. They lost in the Garden.
How do you lose in the Garden? How do you lose in the Garden? I'm still stunned. That's where I'm still stunned on that one. Like, and honestly, how do you lose to the process?
I'm shocked. I guess Embiid is trying to justify why he's made all of these hundreds of millions of dollars. I feel like he's one of the softest players in the league.
Look at the stat line from last night. They said it themselves. Embiid has yet to play 6 consecutive games in the last 3 years.
Yeah, that's it.
How do you expect to even win a series? That's why I'm still shocked that Boston didn't put him away.
Well, that's the thing. Shame on Boston.
Shame on Boston.
Period. And I know that, they've had some issues with injury, and to have one of your star players out, Jason Tatum is a player, and to not have him there does hurt your team. But I still felt like they should have had enough. Jaylen Brown, and there was always that argument.
He was an alpha one. Player. Well, and I think I hurt his credibility in it. I think the fact that he couldn't take him over the hump by himself, that takes away his status as an A1 player. Now you've already paid him A1 money, which is the messed up part. See, and that again goes back to our previous conversation about pricing fans out. I mean, these contracts for some of these players, are they deserve it? I hate to say. I'm not just calling Jaylen Brown out. I'm calling them across the board. I mean, some of these players are getting paid 80, 90 million a year. Some crazy money.
Yeah, but I always have a hard time with this discussion because
well, the
market's out there for the owners to make all of this money and charge these ridiculous prices. The players are the one on the field that are actually, or field or court or whatever it is, that are actually generating the interest to make the money. Agreed. So if I'm able to generate interest for you to make billions, and then I can't make tens or hundreds of millions, then the disparity is too great. And all of a sudden it's more like, you start going back to, we're like slaves. We're just out here making them money, and we're getting paid by paltry sum against what they're making from an income from art. No different than the argument for NIL. NIL still has some things that need to be fixed. The whole argument that I'm a kid that you just gave a scholarship to, and you're making hundreds of millions of dollars off of me and my teammates' likeness, our likeness, our names, our brand, and I can't make a penny off of that, and you tried to offset it by saying the degree is equal to that, that's not right. And so there needs, you're right, these high salaries, I think, have also taken away some of the passion, grit that players display, because they already get
management.
That load management stuff.
I'm sorry, but that wasn't even a term in the 80s and 90s.
Because people played through injury. People played because of the love of the game, the passion of the game. Plus, there may be some argument, back to what you were saying with the payments. When you weren't making a ton of money, you wanted to make sure you got your games in. You wanted to make sure you were working towards that next contract. You don't want to be that person who all of a sudden, is the also ran, not because you are, but because you've been injured and you've been this and people haven't seen you. So people played. People played, finger be pointing up in the air. It's the opposite direction. They're still playing. Today, Hachu, I'm not playing.
Let's make that the perfect transition to what I'm going to call the dog in Ant-Man. Ant-Man shows up.
Ant-Man is the dog, and
I love that guy. I don't care what anybody has to say. He's the second coming.
You know what? If he could do that consistently, Minnesota was right up there just a year or so ago.
They've been to 2 consecutive Western Conference championships. This year, I think they got a chance to maybe even make a third and pull off the upset, honestly, because they got that dog in them. Everybody in the league is shocked that he showed up for game 1, that off that injury and everything else. And look at him, he puts up 11 points in the fourth quarter to take the game.
And that's what you need to be able to win games in the playoffs. You need to have that one person on your team. Brunson is from New York. There are a few others that need to be able to go get it. And they're going to get it. Now, to San Antonio's defense, this is game 1.
Game 1, I still think San Antonio's probably going to take the series, unfortunately. Fortunately or not. I love the story for Ant-Man. But San Antonio is just incredible to watch. I love the team ball. I love I love everything about these guys.
Yeah. And I think even with Minnesota pulling off an upset in game 1, being a 10-point underdog, I don't see them doing that throughout this series. And I still think San Antonio wins. And the Lakers, I don't care if Luka comes back, which is not going to help them, because if he's not out there.
OKC 4-0.
I could see that. The Lakers might get lucky and win 1.
Sure.
That'd be about it. So then it would be exactly what we said at the beginning of the playoffs, where we were thinking about Denver, but Denver got beaten by Minnesota. But we talked about the two bigs, San Antonio and Oklahoma City.
I'm gonna love watching that matchup, because you got two truly team-oriented teams. OKC is just flat out deep. They can play with any stud on the floor. Look at the starting 5 and even all the way down to 8, probably for the Spurs, are incredible to watch together. And then Wemby's just a freak of nature, which is just fun to watch. So at this point, whoever wins the West, I love it. I love the basketball. It's going to be coming hopefully that way. And I think it's honestly going to be where you just said the more entertaining series were in the East first round. I think it's going to be the West this time around for the second round, basically.
I would agree with that, but I do think with we were talking about the parity in the East, the fact that Cleveland
grind it out.
Detroit, they still have some star power on all of these teams. I think the big difference from the East and the West is the West can actually play defense and offense.
Yes.
I have a problem with seeing sometimes the East. It just looks.
There's no offense.
The offense is like 1990s offense.
I feel like it's going to be first one to 80 in that Cleveland and Detroit series. It's going to be one of those where you see a 100-point game, honestly. I think you're going to see the first one grind it out to 80 and then play defense the rest of the way between those two. And the Knicks are just on a tear.
I used to like that in the 90s. Maybe I still like it. I think the big thing to me, what I've seen in the difference in how the styles of play and what we're seeing in the 2 different conferences, I feel like the referees are allowing more physical play in the East. When they're watching some of that Detroit-Orlando series, there were fouls all over the place that just weren't being called. They let them play.
Yep. No, I think Cade and Banchero both, they were just getting grinded on all series long, both ends. It was old school 90s basketball in that sense. But that to me, also you want some of the luster of both sides. You want that offensive grit to just be able to splash up balls and stuff like that. And that's where the West Coast ball just has that right now.
West Coast ball has had that since the 70s.
Yeah.
It's always been, if you watch the 2 conferences and just look at them, it's always been West scores a lot of points. They used to not play defense as well. Eastern was the grind it out.
Yep.
You know, bring your lunch pail with you.
Lunch pail.
It's going to be a battle for 48 minutes.
Yep.
I still think that's the case, but I think the West is caught up from a defensive standpoint.
Yeah.
That's going to any team.
Point. Well, OKC and even the Spurs, when Wemby has 12 blocks in a game, holy shnikes.
Total freak of nature, doesn't even look real.
No.
And they're not goaltends. You know, I know it looks like that, but he's just so long. He's like that praying mantis that's on the field, just constantly
I forget what point in the fourth quarter it was, but Ant-Man goes up and goes one-on-one with Wemby, and the arc on that ball to go.
That was great. And it splashed. It was total all net too.
But no, that's gonna be a great series to watch up and down. As much as I think both of us agree, it's probably gonna be the Spurs. I think it's like a 6-game series, probably. I think Minnesota will get one more probably at home when they back in Minnesota, but they stole one on the road first. I'm sure the Spurs are gonna come back and probably win by like 10 or 12 probably the next game, but it's hard to stop Wemby. You got Frenchie versus Frenchie in the middle. Gobert versus Wembanyama.
Yeah, I like how they gave each other some props.
Yeah.
The game too, because they're both on the French team. So
respect there. But no, it's gonna be a good series overall. But no, NBA basketball is in full effect right now.
I think, as it is with any team, but I think San Antonio even more. Keep Wemby healthy.
Yeah, it's a key thing. Yeah.
That's going to be the key, because all it takes is what happened to Ant-Man. You go to block a shot and you come down and you hit your front leg and it buckles and you get that hyperextended knee and boom.
I was shocked that Wemby came back as early as he did in that first series, because you see that his head literally bounced.
His head, and it slid too. Yeah. But I give him credit. And again, I hope that everybody stays healthy and we just see good sport, good basketball, and the best team wins.
Yep. Nope.
But the team who wants it more wins. Not always the best team wins. It's who wants it more on that day.
You got to always have that alpha dog. Even though it's a team sport, you got to have that alpha dog that's going to carry them over. And that's where a couple of these guys, like I said, the Brunsons, the Ant-Mans, the Wembys, and frankly for OKC, it could be SGA, it could be any of those guys. They've got a whole arsenal of them. But yeah, it's going to be fun to watch those basketball series.
Here to transition to something else.
Yep.
We're talking about want. Looking at the PGA Tour, first off, the fact here's what's so great. Live Golf is basically folding because it can't afford the lavish crap that they've been putting out and paying these guys for not performing, and now they're in a bind.
I'm going to give a controversial take, and some people are not going to like this, but I'm sorry, but when you decide to take ultra wealthy folks and an ultra wealthy clientele in the Middle East and decide to make a game that is fairly, on the wealthier side with golf, and obviously in more of a higher class type sport, and you decide to commercialize it to the point where you're just trying to sell tickets on a week-to-week basis and viewership because of star power and everything else, and then you fail at it, that tells you that it's no longer a sport, it's an exhibition. And fine, you can have exhibitions in any sport. That's for the off season, in my opinion. For real golf and real competition, you've ruined the careers of John Rahm. You've ruined the careers of all these other guys that went to live, DeChambeau and everybody else, Sergio. All these guys were doing well on the tour at one point or another, where they could have had a career, we could have been remembered, everything else. I haven't thought about these guys in 4 years since they went away.
Nope, and don't even miss them.
Nope, don't even miss them. Because the competition on the tour is so healthy right now, it's unreal.
and that's the thing. Like, they're still come back for the majors, right? Because they still allow them to play the majors.
Yeah.
And what are they doing in the majors?
Right. Nothing. Exactly. And that's where I'm kind of glad that Live folded. And frankly, the Saudi fund, came to its senses. Like, yeah, we can't fund this anymore because we're not going to be able to sell it. Our guys aren't winning because obviously they're not competitive enough. And they don't even challenge themselves on a week-to-week basis. They've all just become exhibition artists who are now getting paid. Simple enough.
And that's really all it is. They don't practice. They don't hone their craft. Right. They're just there. Hey, why do I need to work hard if you're going to pay me, $50 million
exactly
just to show up?
Yeah. Anybody can get paid an exhibition fee. Anybody. It's a matter of, do you actually want to be remembered for being one of the best people in the world in terms of the craft of your sport? And that's not going to happen on Live Golf. So I'm glad it's folding. It'll be interesting to see how the PGA takes the players back in some fashion. I'm curious to see how all that unfolds now, because at some point they were in a negotiation that failed, and now the entire other side has collapsed. So the PGA has no incentive.
Well, and that's funny because they were trying to merge the two, and look what happened. So it was good that never happened, because the PGA would have been bailing them out.
It would have been exactly.
I'd like to see what happens, but it's like if you take a couple years off of any professional sport, you're not going to come back the same way. It's not the same when you have to play 4 rounds, when you have to qualify for the weekend. That's not the same as live golf.
I feel like John Rahm and Dustin Johnson were at the peak of their game when they decided to leave for live golf. Had they stuck around, they could have won 3-4 majors probably.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree
think about that. That's lost.
And to talk about one, so that was the live golf side. So we got the PGA Tour.
Yep.
First off, kudos to Cameron Young. He's shown that he can win. He held the lead. He was able to, persevere through Sunday to win that. Had a big enough lead to not worry.
Yep.
What is up with Scottie Scheffler? And when I talk about one, I want to talk about this.
Yeah.
When Jack Nicklaus, and he played with some heavyweights of golf, he was number one and he was dominant.
Yep.
Tiger Woods, he was number one, he was dominant. David Duval for a minute was number one and they were dominant. But it feels like since Tiger Woods, the number one players, whether it's Justin Thomas or whoever you want to put up there, they can't handle.
They can handle about 3 or 4 year stretches, but that's about it.
And it's not like they were winning. Scottie Scheffler was winning at the same clip that Tiger was winning. He's winning 1 out of every few tournaments he entered. And then he's just gone down the drain. And I feel like the pressure of being number one, the idea of getting to the top, sometimes the journey to the top is the most enjoyable. And then when you get there, it's not so enjoyable anymore.
See, I'm going to defend that. And I'm going to say this, that despite Scottie not winning the tournaments outright in any fashion, like he quote unquote used to, or, was on that good streak of it, he's a top 5 golfer every weekend. When have we seen that since the days of Tiger? We haven't.
That's what I mean. All of those other, so-called number one guys only were number one for a small period of time.
I mean, that's where I give Scottie credit for the fact that this guy's still contending every week. It's just that every week, everybody else knows they got to up their game to beat a Scottie. And there's always that 1 or 2 players every week that tends to have that great first or second round that has that eclipse moment. And that's where Scottie's kind of fallen a little short on his killer instinct. He's still Scottie Sunday. He's still going to put up the magic number.
On Sunday looks good. The weekends he's been looking good.
Thursday, Friday are the ones that are separating him from really being the leader walking in on a Sunday, basically, and taking the tournament. So if he works on that, I think he's still golden, which, again, he's still finishing top 5 in every tournament. It doesn't stop him. Everybody else knows they got to up their game coming into a tournament, though. So, and like I said, Cam Young having a hell of a year. I mean, he's doing phenomenal right now. But then you've got guys like the Xanders and everybody else that's still going to be creeping and crawling. So I feel like it's a nice loaded PGA, arsenal of top 10 golfers right now, which makes it kind of fun. Honestly, I wish they had the Ryder Cup every year. It'd be great to watch because there's so many good golfers right now.
Yeah, but the Ryder Cup is not great to watch because the USA just doesn't play well in the Ryder Cup.
The USA is not a team-oriented team.
Yeah, they're not team-oriented. It shows you the difference. And to that point, you had Matt Fitzpatrick, who actually won a tournament, then came back like the following week and won a tournament with his brother.
Yeah.
Give him all those exemptions that come with winning a tournament because he probably would never have that opportunity. And you got good year. Rory won. You got European players here that are actually doing well. You hear that all those live golfers who made your money now, but what are you going to do now?
Shane Lowry's a top 10 golfer. Still, there's so many good guys, and frankly, they're making their money and they're being remembered. The fact that we can name them off on a namely basis tells you everything you need to know. On live golf, I can name maybe a handful of players. If
just
that,
the big ones.
It's only because they won 10 years ago.
Yeah.
On the PGA Tour.
Yeah. We're going to start seeing some of the majors come up, and you're going to see some great play. I'm hopeful to see Scottie Scheffler get his putting back and to get some of his iron play back. And he used to be so solid. I feel like but I felt like Scottie Scheffler was like Tiger Woods and Jack Nicklaus in this way. When he was on his game, I don't care how good you play.
Right.
You're not going to beat him.
You're not going to beat him. The dude owns his craft still at the end of the day. And that's why I call him Scottie Sunday. Like this dude, he beats himself on a Sunday. Like I don't think I've seen in the last 8 to 12 weeks where he hasn't been like 3 or 4 under par on a Sunday. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, and he comes from way behind to all of a sudden be in contention.
Yeah,
after Saturday, and it's like, wow, how did he come from that far behind?
In every sport, you get these different types of players. You got players that come from behind great. You got players that are front runners and all sorts of stuff. If he gets better at that, like Thursday, Friday game, which I think he can do, he becomes the elite again. So that's what makes him scary. I hope he pulls off either the Memorial or the U.S. Open in the next couple of weeks. That'd be great to see him kind of walk into. The British Open is a different animal unto its own right. It's about whoever can play in those sloggy conditions.
I was just about to say the weather dominates that. Remember when Tiger shot an 80 at the British Open? So that stuff happens. I don't care how great you are. You get out there and it's like, open. Yeah, you're in the monsoon trying to play golf.
I feel like all the other sports that have like a Grand Slam series always have that one tournament. The French Open's coming up. The French Open is on its own right. It's sad to see that one of our favorite players with top dog is not going to be there, but Sinner is going to be another Sinner. I hate to say.
Yeah, well, who's not going to be there?
Alcaraz.
Alcaraz is out.
He's got a lingering hip injury. He's still working through it right now. Right now, chances are saying that he's probably not going to be able to play the French.
Oh, don't turn into Nadal with the injuries, please.
That's the problem. The kids won't be tennis. Nadal. So I hate to say it, but he kind of knew it was coming at some point. I just wish it was so early in his career. The guy's barely 21, for God's sake.
Exactly, and he has just so much more he can accomplish. Plus, if he's gone, Medvedev, Djokovic, and none of them are going to beat Sinner regularly, or at least put up enough.
Sinner beat Zverev 1-1 on Sunday.
Yeah, and Zverev is what, a top 5 tennis player?
Zverev's a top 4 dog.
So, I for the sake of competition, I hope that Alcaraz gets better.
I'm tired of watching Sinner. I can't respect the fact that he's cheated. If he didn't cheat, I'd respect him more. But I'm sorry, I'm not going to like this guy. I don't care what anybody says. I'm just not going to like him.
I don't like him. I don't like Djokovic either.
Yeah. Hell, at this point, I want to see Djokovic pull it off and hopefully make the magic run at one of these tournaments and then just call it a career. If he pulls off the French, great. If he pulls off Wimbledon, great. Something of that sort. It'd be great to cap off, go sail into the sunset, take down Sinner, and slap him on the way. But I don't know. Honestly, the French might be his best chance, if depending on the seeding and everything else. Where if Joker's opposite Sinner, maybe we finally see a showdown in the finals. Maybe Djokovic can overcome some demons there and take down the big dog. But because Alcaraz won't be there, that's the key piece.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
We got a lot of sports coming up, folks. And the weather is starting to change. Maybe too hot in some places, but the places that have been cold starting to warm up. Hope you guys can get out, enjoy the time with your family. You got Memorial Day coming up in a few weeks. Get out, have some fun, enjoy the good weather, and be nice to somebody today.
Yep. No, it's a great time of year. Obviously, graduations, all sorts of stuff going on in May. But today is Cinco de Mayo. Go out and enjoy.
Cinco de Mayo. That's right.
Enjoy Taco Tuesday. Have some little fun today. But no, we'll be back next week with some NBA recap. And like I said, we'll be kind of leading it into next month. We'll be talking a little bit of that thing they call football around the globe.
Yeah, football around the globe.
Yeah. So it'll be kind of fun to see how that one also turns out. Now, quick note on that one. Lamine Yamal is questionable for the World Cup. He didn't get a full tear of his hammy, but he's got his hammy hurt. Spain is the prohibitive favorite. It's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out.
Yeah, isn't that young phenom who's really good?
He is really good. In my opinion, it'll be interesting to see. Notice how I haven't mentioned a single you're American player here, because America, you're pathetic. You can't even sell out your own opening game for the World Cup.
I just hope that America can put up enough to at least get out of the group stage. That's all.
Sadly, they might be able to, but then they're going to get spanked in the 16s.
That's going to happen for decades to come.
Yeah.
But I hope that everybody enjoys that. Enjoy your week.
Yep.
Enjoy yourselves. Be good to yourself as well as the environment around you. It'll give it back to you.
Yep. Nope. Enjoy the basketball. Enjoy the Knickerbocker fandom until it comes crashing. Enjoy it.
Hopefully the Knicks will win. I'm hoping. I'm an underdog guy. It would be nice to see the Knicks against Detroit in the Eastern Conference.
First time since Roy was a kid that they might have a chance.
Exactly. That actually is true.
On that note, we will stay youthful. We'll see you guys next week.
Take care.